Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another episode in the Suffolk Non-League Show. We are live once again. It is Monday night, 8:30, the only place to be. I'm glad Boris got his bits and pieces out of the way. He knew what was happening tonight. He knew that we were going live. He knew he had to get it done and very, very quickly. As I said, we are live. We're across Facebook. We are across Twitter. We are across YouTube. As always, if you are on any of those platforms, please give the video a share, retweet it onto your Twitter timelines, share it into the WhatsApp groups. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I am James and he is Adam. How are you doing this evening, mate? You well?
Yeah, very good. I'm just retweeting the post to say that we're live.
Good man. Good man. Good man.
Need to get that in. But yeah, all right, not too bad. Been a busy week and back to work properly today.
Yeah.
That hurt, I tell you.
That did. Yeah. Yeah.
Haven't had feelings like that since I used to watch Heartbeat at 8 p.m. on ITV when I was about 12.
Jesus. Yeah, no, I have to admit, I tweeted out earlier on. It did affect me this morning. I don't know why it really got to me this morning, but for some reason it just did. We will get into that, and we will get into the news that Boris has talked about in just a few moments. We will bring your hellos up on the screen as well. But before we get too far into it, just a very quick word from our sponsors. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors on the Suffolk Non-League Show: Starling and Lock, Matchday Marketing, GBS, Your Shirts, and Clabber Creative. GBS are a family-run construction company in Ipswich operating nationwide with over 30 years experience, offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety, and asbestos removal. Starling & Lock, self-employed electrician in the Stowmarket and Suffolk area since 1989, offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses. An NIC/EIC member. Matchday Marketing, sports marketing and branding company, helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising over 20 plus years in the game. Your Shirts, eye-catching, professional-looking garments for your business, team, club or organisation, with a range of printing methods to cover all individual needs. Clabber Creative is a creative agency based in Framlingham, Suffolk, offering fully managed football club websites. They are about giving your club a professional image and the ongoing support to maintain it. Links for all of these companies will be in the description below. Go and check them out and tell them that DeeJam has sent you. Before we get into much of our discussion tonight, we're going to do our normal promotional bits, and then we will be announcing the winner in the next few moments of the Clabber Creative competition. It was out throughout the whole of December, and we have got a very interesting graphic that's been put together by Clabber, a wheel to decide who gets that year's worth of supply from Clabber Creative. But before we do that, just a very massive thank you again to all of our partner clubs. If you want to become a partner club and be on this list like those clubs have done so far and throughout the season, then contact Adam over on Twitter. It's a good way of self-promoting each other, not only the show, but also bringing your content onto the show as well. Also want to say a absolutely massive thank you to all of our Ko-fi members. Everyone who makes one-off donations towards the channel is massively appreciated. The link for the Ko-fi page is now going into the chat. If you do want to make any sort of contributions towards the show, that would be very much appreciated. And also, we do have our Patreon page, which is the best way of being able to support the channel, because it is a regular monthly amount that you can put towards us. So if you want to help with the running costs and just ultimately to make my dream a reality of going part-time into not a dream, as I said, into reality, then the Patreon link is available as well. And again, I will put that now into the chat. If you feel like putting anything towards it, you can go from as little as £1 all the way up to £20. You can select whichever tier you want, and you can cancel at any point. So that's very important to mention. Adam, shall we do the competition? Shall we do that? Get that over and done with?
Yeah, oh, God, absolute whirlwind of things happened just then.
I know. It's just a lot of information I chucked at
you. Absolutely lost.
So let's do the competition then. This was for the opportunity to win a year's supply from Clabber Creative. You'll be able to see the wheel here which has cleverly been designed on their website. Absolutely love this.
You're like Jenny on Wheel of Fortune tonight, just without the skimpy dress.
Really is. So everybody who entered the competition, his name is on here. And what we're going to be doing now is spinning the wheel, and then Clubber are going to be contacting you directly about this. So yes, whoever wins it will be contacted via them. Shall we do it, Adam? I will click it the moment you say go.
It's all very exciting. Go.
Oh, this is interesting. Why is it frozen? There we go.
There we go.
There we go. I
Nearly
panicked
an
for a
on-screen
moment.
disaster.
Panicked. Baker from Westerfield United has won the club website. They will be in touch to discuss your prize. Congratulations.
Westerfield United have won.
Unbelievable. Love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you very much to everyone who got involved in the competition. Really, really do appreciate that. But yeah, congratulations to Westerfield. You have won yourself a free website.
Unbelievable prize.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is, to be honest, it is a very good prize. A very, very good prize. When you see the quality involved in it, it is absolutely mental. So let's bring all of your messages up on the screen. Let's welcome in everybody. There's a lot of you already in the chat. Maverick UK, hope you're all right, mate. Matchday Marketing, evening all. Glenn, evening, gents, is in the building. Sean is here as well, along with Alex. I've already seen your picture you put up on Twitter, mate, of you getting ready to watch the show. Absolutely love that. This has probably summed up James's day up after the news. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Not wrong. Liam Groom, evening. Oh, Alex is in the building. Adam, have you shrunk? I think you were quite low down on the chair at one point.
Yeah, I've adjusted what I've realised is I've readjusted my green screen. I didn't change my camera height. This will all be fixed soon. Our new cameras are actually got dispatched today.
They have. They have. Very exciting. We're continuing to make investments on the channel, and that is just the latest one. Thanks to all of you guys as well. So Paul Kitson, evening both. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Although is it Happy New Year? I suppose it is on this show. It's not in the world, but it is on this show. Somebody let Adam's tires down. Brilliant. Jordan Mays, evening all. Irvin's in the building. Evening everybody. Evening Adam and evening son. Hi Dad. Hope you're well. Bucks, Happy New Year, gents. Hi, chaps. New attire. Absolutely loving it. Yes. Some fresh new gear thanks to the guys over at Your Shirts. Really appreciate it.
So I'm sporting the sidekick gear tonight.
Get out. Jack Owen is in the building. Evening, gents. Obviously from Mulbarton. Absolutely love that. Evening, gents. Glad to see Boris was on time tonight. Looking forward to the show. Yeah, to be honest, that was one thing I was worrying about actually before we went live. I thought, oh God, everyone's going to be watching him and no one's going to be here. But there we go. Stay safe. Heard of me is in isolation. Good evening, lads. Ben Thompson for the Chelsea job. You hear it first. Brilliant. Got a few more of you coming in as well. Evening, gents. Evening, chaps, rather, from Ben. Evening, sports fan from Sidekicks for Sports. Obviously, Adam's sporting half of your attire over there. Bill Case. Evening. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, and congratulations from Connor. We'll be in touch tomorrow to discuss getting the new club site underway, which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, we can't start tonight without talking about the announcement from Boris. It comes as not really much of a shock, but I think the reality is now hit home. We are now in lockdown 3.0. We've all been told we need to be staying in, self-isolating for a lot longer period of time. By the sounds of things, the way he's talking about the schools and when they're going back, we're potentially looking around about mid-February, end of February, before we go back into a regional approach. So we'll talk about the football implications in a moment when we bring our two guests on. But from a personal side of things, Adam, how are you feeling about it? Because I often start these talking about how I feel, but how are you feeling about the news? Because we kind of reacted to it together, didn't we?
Yeah, we sort of listened to it together. I think one of the surprises is that maybe further action has taken this long, and we got teased by it in the news yesterday after he said that he felt Sunday morning he spoke on the Andrew Marshall, I think it was, and said that more restrictions were definitely needed. I mean, I don't really go anywhere anymore. So I'm not sure how much this will affect what I do. Like Finley goes to nursery and he'll still have to go because we're both key workers. But it's just a case of whatever's needed now to try and start getting us some semblance of normality. I'm just willing to go along with, despite knowing that it really isn't good mentally. Like, it's just, I don't know if it's like the boredom and everything, but I almost feel like we're going to get to a point where there's going to be like anxiety setting, just going back to doing regular everyday tasks because we're almost going to be out of practice.
Did you kind of feel like that this morning, going into work, going to do work at all? Because that was a thing for me, I have to admit.
But I've been off, like I've only worked one day since the 15th of December.
Right.
And yeah, like that feeling of like knowing that I've got no holiday booked in, not knowing where the next holiday is going to come because of, because I have to work from home at the minute. Holidays aren't really holidays, are they?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots to think about, and like where my normal focus is every Monday, every Saturday. Every Monday's still going, but even the football on Saturdays, I don't have real much interest in pro football, so I won't sit and watch a game at the weekend,
right?
At all. Like, and I won't watch match of the day or anything like that. So
yeah,
sporting wise, that's sort of sapped out. Like, I enjoy watching boxing and that every now and again when it's on. I know it's not something that you're a fan of, but like, yeah, it's difficult because it just takes one of those main focal points away from what you do, and it is for the greater good. So I can't complain about it, and I'm sure most people think that this is just a route for us to get back to normality, but I don't. Without going into it in a really granular sense and without putting a downer on everything, I'm not quite sure how you can vaccinate 52 million people in a year very easily. Like, just trying to crunch those numbers on a consistent basis. I don't know how long we've had vaccines available for now, but we've just about done 1 million.
Yeah.
I can't see me working in the office if they ever do want us to work back in the office for another year.
Yeah. I think this will, because this is where I do my work from home at the moment. I think this will now become my permanent residence. I'll probably spend more time in here than I will do in the front room. Do you know what I mean?
I'm exactly the same.
So this is now my office, not only from work but also with this as well, because this is now this is building up so much and taking on a life of its own. We spoke about it in the Christmas show, the Christmas podcast rather. We are trying to make and get aspirations to this to becoming a part-time basis for myself. Obviously, we talk about some of the things that we can and can't do and what we'll be looking to do over the next few months, etc. But we've got a few ideas about what we want to do. But I said, this is now going to be my permanent office for that. And I actually said, I now need to make this a more comfortable space because there is a lot of rubbish in here. And I now need to try and declutter that. Because again, from a mental perspective, I've got to have a clear office to try and, do that. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I said, I expected it. I'm just now, I know why it's been done. And I think it's being done for the right reason. I'm just now worried about the other side of things. And as you said, mental health in particular is now something that I'm concerned about, and not only for myself, but for other people as well. And I saw an incident on Twitter over the weekend where
I saw that.
somebody openly said, I can't do this anymore. And he said, if you see this, this will be my last post. And it freaked me out. Like, I reached out to the bloke, never spoke to him before in my life. Not somebody I follow, but somebody else put it onto my timeline. And I reached out to him. Luckily, he spoke to me a couple of days, yesterday rather, and everything seemed to be okay. He was getting the help he needed. But that's the side of things that I'm now starting to get worried about. And I said it on the Christmas one, and I mean it, and the offer is still there. If anybody needs to have a chat, if anybody needs to talk, my DMs are open. I don't know what I can say that will help things, but maybe just talking about it is a help. And just having somebody that you can confide in. My DMs remain private. They don't get shared out. I spoke to plenty of people over Christmas, and hopefully that helped people. So if you need that help, again, the offer is there. You're more than welcome to hit me up in my DMs.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. And I think the thing that people will struggle with is there's no set date for when it ends.
Yeah.
And I can understand that.
Yeah.
Being something that's difficult. I think what we all need to sort of I think, like I said last week, really, is just setting small goals to make sure, like, the only thing, you know, if you're someone that's even struggling as far back as just getting out of bed, just set those goals and try and achieve something a bit different. What
Yeah.
Alex is doing tonight on the exercise bike is like absolute top draw.
Yeah. Stroke of
Getting
genius, that.
active, like keeping going. It's really
Yeah.
it's real difficult. And I don't think working from home actually aids you setting any goals whatsoever.
No.
Because where I used to get up from work, I'm sure loads of people can say this, you'd get up for work and you'd go and catch a train or jump in the car or whatever, and you'd be out of the house at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I now get up with Finley sort of on rota with my wife, and if I've got to start work at 9, there will be days when I get up at 8:45.
Yeah.
I'm like, that isn't the right way to go about the day. You're not eating breakfast and stuff or whatever. If you are, you're just like scoffing your face halfway through. That point brought up on screen now. It's the one thing that I think I've been most thankful for, like realizing that a decent walk is not far away, because just clearing your head is really, really good.
And to Alex's message on here, this is where this needs to carry on and things like this to look forward to something. It's exactly why we're going to continue it. Are we going to have a conversation every single week about what's going on in football? Well, probably not, because there's not an awful lot to talk about. But this is where we are going to be inviting guests onto the show to talk about their story in football, to talk about their journey. And we've got some guests already lined up, and we're open to speaking to anybody that wants to come on and share their story, whatever the case may be. So, this is what this show is going to be about moving forward. And, we'll kind of sprinkle it with a little bit of news as and when we get things and when we get certain updates. But like today, there hasn't been an update since last week. So, we're just going to be speculating now as to what we can do kind of moving forward. So, but, it's exactly right from Alex. This is something that we are going to continue, because not only from you guys and you need it, we need to be doing this in order to keep our minds focused as well. So, I'm glad we're continuing it. I really am.
I think and we spoke about this the other night when we had our little midweek meeting that we have sort of every couple of weeks, that it kind of doesn't matter now if there's 10 people watching or 1,000 people watching. Like, welcome everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, we welcome everyone in, but even if there's 10 people watching, it's also doing it for ourselves as well as everyone else.
Yeah.
Give ourselves focus. So, like, whilst we appreciate you all being here, it's important to us to keep doing it, to give ourselves focus and to keep ourselves involved in talking and connecting with people, because I think just having a community there is something that Wembley tournament, Wembley singles, each club picks one player to minimize COVID risks.
It might be the only way of moving forward. You never know.
By March, you might have one player per squad that's had the injection. I'll tell you what, this could work.
Yeah, you never know. Let's talk about things from a football perspective, shall we? And by doing so, we're going to be bringing on our guest for this evening. We talked about it over the past few days. You will have seen who's coming on tonight. We have got two representatives from Mulbarton, a team that we were massively impressed with when we went to cover them on the Matchday Experience. I'm delighted to say that tonight we are joined by joint managers Ben Thompson and Danny Self. Ben, Danny, welcome to the show. How are you both doing? You all right?
Hi, gents.
Evening, gents. How are we?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad, thank you. I'll start off with yourself, Ben. Before we get into the football side of things, how do you kind of reflect on the announcement that's just been made? How are you personally feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's so for myself, it's got a young family. So at 5 o'clock today, we had an email from the school saying that my 4-year-old was going to go into school tomorrow, and then Boris announces this tonight, and it just throws everything out, doesn't it? It's just the unknown day to day. It's the do's, the don'ts, and it's just difficult. Like you say, Adam, you sort of live day to day. I work from home, so you're in your house. You know, the kids go to school. They're in there with grandparents, and you find yourself rattling around the house on your own, trying to work from home, and it's really difficult on your mental health. You know, and previously you'd have training to look forward to with the lads. You know, a Zoom call in the evening with the lads, and without that, it just it's really tough. It's really, you know, like you say, you have to set sort of daily goals. And I will get out there today for a walk at lunchtime. I will go for a run later on. You know, I will make time to speak to friends because I know they'd be struggling. We're all in there. We're in the same boat, but it's just got to get through this, right?
Yeah, definitely. What about yourself, Danny?
It's two-pronged for me because I work in a school, so obviously it's all up in the air for us, and be sat behind the laptop instead of taking PE lessons, which is completely different, obviously. And then personally, my wife's an A&E nurse, so there's that concern again. And then football-wise, it's just disappointing because, like Ben said, you've got that thing you always look forward to, and most people who watch this, whether you play or whether you're just a fan, I say just a fan, they're obviously really important. It's that thing you look forward to, whether it is training or whether it is a game. You still get that buzz. I was 37 on Saturday and I still miss it. And we've only been off for about, a month or so now, and I miss it. And that's ridiculous. I don't even play that much anymore. But it's that, and that will have an effect. And the sooner we can get some normality back, however it happens, the better, I think.
Because one thing that I do want to say about Mold Barton as a club before we kind of delve too much into it, especially for you guys, because I did a little bit of just looking on the full-time website. You've only played one league game since the beginning of November. Yeah. That in itself must be so frustrating. I know there's been Vars matches in there as well. You've had your two Vars games, obviously, which we were present to the one before that, but you know, from how difficult has that been? Because again, you're looking forward to that one consistent thing that drives you from point A to point B during the week, and often it probably hasn't been there for you guys.
I mean, I guess sort of take the emotion out of it. We love football, and we were flying as well. You know, we were sticky start to the season, and then Suffolk can read lots of stats, but we won the last 9 games, scoring for fun, haven't conceded any, and that's the most frustrating thing. We found a way to win and win well, like you saw in our Vars games. You know, we were lucky enough to play a number of Vars games where other teams were having games called off for COVID. We're lucky to keep playing, which was lucky for us, but it's just it's frustrating. It's frustrating, especially when you find that winning formula and the lads are flying. They got the bit between their teeth, and you go game to game, and then just falls on its face. It's frustrating, right?
How difficult is that to get that feeling and that momentum going again? Like, just say for instance, things went regional and mid-March we could start just playing some friendlies to get that sort of winning feeling and that bit of momentum back again. Is that something that would take, is it going to take time and going to be a bit of a mess for a while, do you think, at clubs as they sort themselves out and find rhythm again? Or
it will take a while. It definitely takes a while. And it's massive in sport, in any sport. If you've got momentum, it can carry you so far, as well as obviously ability and experience. But momentum's really big because you turn up, like if it went to, hopefully if we get started again, it goes Saturday, Tuesday, you end up just rolling with it, a bit of momentum, and go from game to game, and you just, Blakey's in, from game to game, and you just bounce with it. Momentum is huge, and it took a little while. When we first came back from pre-season, we played a couple of friendlies at the start, and we were terrible. We couldn't get used to changing on the side of a pitch and only having 45 minutes to prepare, all this sort of stuff. So again, it'll be interesting to see if we start again, how it starts, when it starts, and what restrictions are in place. But hopefully after the lockdown 2, I'm losing track of them now, lockdown 2, we've started again quite quickly. Like you said, it was all Vars games, but we started quickly, and we'd had a great run leading into the lockdown. And then we go again, Vars, one league game, and we're flying, and we get another break. And you're thinking, okay, come on, how many times can you restart the momentum? But it's the same problem for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, so I suppose what the question I was going to lead to from that was that in terms of keeping this season open-ended for however long it is, let's not put parameters on it, but do you think that the stop-start nature actually provides a bit of a leveler for the league, unlike any other season we've ever seen before, if it was to continue? Because that momentum isn't allowed to be carried, because we've stopped and started 3 times now.
I think it does. If your boys are on it and they look after themselves and they're ready and they're prepared and you have a structure. I think if you're a team that's just reforming or bringing players in and out and people don't look after themselves, it can be like playing a pre-season game. You can be 2 or 3 weeks ahead of a certain group because you've looked after yourself, and that can get you through. And that can challenge someone. And you'll probably find that'll be the case, especially if we restart and we stop and restart, and there's someone in the middle who, it doesn't matter, aren't going to get dragged either way, up or down. They'll probably just turn up, and it won't matter as much. And then does that affect the integrity of it all? I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, we've always tried to pride ourselves on being really professional, and we've got lads in that look after themselves. We've been having sort of weekly competitions, couple of Zoom calls every week, and making sure lads getting out there. So we try and do what we know is right, and I hope that not everybody else is doing that, which is great for us because we try and be really professional and the lads do it. We've got lads in that have that sort of mindset, but like you say, I think that when we get ready to go again, I think we need to be in a situation where teams just can't turn around and go, we have COVID issues. There need to be some sort of rules around that, because it sort of felt like especially early on in the season, teams just sort of turn around and go, we've got a couple of cases here. We don't want to play the game. And I think it needs to be a bit more parameter. Like the Anglican Com have said, if you can't field it, you've got COVID cases, you can't field a team, you're deducted to 3 points. If it's open-ended, I don't think we'll ever finish the season because like the likes of Selfie and myself and all the lads, the demographic, we're not going to get a vaccine until God knows, So this is going to carry on. This is going to carry on and on and on. I think there needs to be some sort of rules put in place to enable us to try and finish the season, because when is this going to end? And I think that's important.
Yeah, so on that then, it's a bit of an open question with this one, but how is there a way in which we're going to be able to complete this season from your, now that we've had the latest update? We were talking last week about it finishing maybe, if we said, let's resume games at the end of January and, we'll kickstart things from February. We were talking then about how tough it's going to be to fit in all of the fixtures between now and the end of the season, even if we extended it into June. So if this is now going to end of February, beginning of March time, realistically, we can't get 2 rounds of fixtures done on this. So there's been ideas floated around, and I've seen loads of them online, especially over the past week or so.
Yeah, that is.
What from your perspective, and I'll ask you individually, how do you think, I'll start off with yourself, Ben, how do you think we can finish the season, if we can finish the season at all?
Like I say, it's a big open-ended question, and you get, whatever answer you give, you will upset, a certain number of teams and representatives from clubs, because it's just the nature of it. Hence that's why we're not making the decision. Do we, like you said, if we start again in March and put these rules in place, we could go Saturday, Tuesday and get it done by the end of, maybe the end of June, but it's just going to keep crashing down again because we don't have the vaccine. And I just see it rumbling on. I did see an idea somewhere that I think it was on a non-league show yesterday, pretty competitive of yours, I should mention it. But yeah.
As long as they're not in Suffolk, it's fine. You can mention them. It's all right.
Good, cool. I actually think they sort of pause the season now and restart it again in August. And that's the way around it. Because the issue you've got is you've got the restart, but then suddenly the players so from level step 2 down, people on contracts, so they get triggered again. They're paying out money. You might necessarily be able to get fans in, and it's a lot of outlay for football clubs. So, there's 2 trails of thought. You stop it now, save the money, save clubs. If we can get started again in, I don't know, maybe May, just do a few mini tournaments, to bring a few quid in, if that's the case, then restart the season in October, in August. Like I said before the call, it all depends if the FA want to crack on and do this restructure. That's the key to this, I think.
Right.
If they want restructure, they're going to have to find a solution. I think they met last Saturday to talk about it. We've sort of floated the idea. Again, it divides everybody. But we had last season, which should it have been voided? I think the general consensus it probably shouldn't, because we played 28 games. Some people muted the idea. We did as well, of combining last season and this season as a season. But I just don't want to be the person to make that decision, right? Who's going to make that decision?
How did you both sort of feel last season when the void verdict came in, compared to that sort of emptiness that we're all feeling now of not knowing what's happening going forward? Can you sort of summarise how that was at the club?
It was raging. It was shit, to be perfectly honest. It was rushed, in my opinion, because I then think if you look at the timeline of things, our step was one of the first steps to go, nah, it's done. And then some other steps took their time, and they eventually got to the same decision. But I think that it didn't need to be as rushed. And I think, obviously, hindsight now, and we see a few of the comments, we shouldn't have ended last season. We could have worked that into this season, what have you. Hindsight's lovely, isn't it? And we would all probably done that now if we had the choice. But we didn't know what was going to happen. But at the time, I felt it was rushed, considering it was March, wasn't it? We locked down. Decision was made within weeks, I think, and there was time. There was no need to rush it, and it pissed us off. We had a moan about it. We looked at exploring options. We looked at people in different leagues who were approaching things and contacting the FA and signing letters, all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, it was always going to fall on deaf ears once that committee had made their decision. It was never going to change. So the pity party ended there, and we just looked at, okay, we have to go again in a league that realistically we wouldn't have been in if you look at where we were and what was going on. So, initially.
Do you think then, Danny, that's the reason why this idea of putting the 2 seasons, combining them, and then potentially going by a points per game basis is gaining so much traction? Because that's the one idea that I keep seeing floated online at the moment. I know there are lots of others, but that is the one that is gaining a bit of momentum at the moment. I can't see it happening, but it's an option.
No. I think it's our preference, obviously, but that's because it favours us, and then there'll be a few it favours, and there'll be a big chunk it doesn't favour. For me, it's the closest one that you're going to get to actually winning a league by playing enough games and enough points. I know it's points per game, because it's the only one that reflects you've played. Well, we've done 10 this year and we did 28 last year. So we played a season. So we'd have a reflection of our points. We managed to get someone to work it out after we floated it about, and we'd be fine. We'd go up. One of the teams who finished 5th on that table are obviously going to be raging. They'd go, no. That is the problem with all of this. There's an agenda, isn't there? Everyone's got their own agenda, whether, like Ben said, there's financial agendas, or it's I'm going to be relegated or I'm going to be promoted. The big chunk of people in the middle who it doesn't affect have a vote and a say in this, and their agenda then comes into play. Do they like them? Is it better for us if they're in the league or they're not? And it gets all messy. And again, like Ben said, we're not going to please everyone. And we chatted earlier, and part of me thinks we should just look at it like it's football. I know everyone does it and there's social reasons why, but actually we all get into our level and above to win. And on a match day, so if we look at a match situation, on a match day, you get shit decisions. You get annoyed with referees. Someone wins, someone loses. And ultimately, if you scale that up into a season, someone wins, someone loses, relegation, promotion, and it's a shit decision made by an official. So it's an ideal situation for us, and it's the one I think replicates as close to a league season as we're going to probably get in this situation without finishing one. But it's going to divide people, and people are going to disagree. So realistically, is it going to happen? It's got a chance, but I wouldn't put my money on it, no.
Yeah.
I think one of the big problems I've got with it, and without wanting to go full scale Roy Keane on it, is that you've had 2 opportunities to sign the players that you want in your squad plus anyone else in the middle of it. You've had effectively 2 runs of playing different teams and stuff. If after that's all scaled out at points per game and you're still bottom of the league or in a relegation place, you're not good enough.
Yeah,
I completely, and if you're a team that's sort of, I don't know, so in our league, for example, top 4 go up. If you are 5th, 6th, and 7th, there's 2 trail of thoughts. You go, no, that should be points per game because we'll miss out. Or another one is actually, let's get rid of those 4 best teams in the league over a 38-game period. Yeah. We're going to be favourites next season to go for it. If these 4 teams in the league, might be another season of being in this league again. So you've got to take the emotion out of it and think. But we'll see. It's like I said, I wouldn't like to be the one making the decision, but they've just got.
I find it odd how detached the emotion and the competition element of it is, though, because there's so much like going for being competitive and wanting to be promoted, but the emotion from some teams is just not really there. The emotion of the competitive spirit and everything, it's just like, yeah, I'll just sit in the middle. I don't really need to make a decision on this. It's not in.
It's an easy way out without offending anyone, isn't it? You sit with the majority.
Yeah.
You don't put your head above the pulpit and you don't get shot, do you? You don't. It's the easy way out. And in a crappy time, in a crappy situation, people don't want the hassle of it. So I sort of get it, but the longer this goes on, the longer that's going to be an issue because it's just going to rumble and rumble and rumble. And progressive club, people who want to go up, so the people in the league below us will want to progress. So Harleston, probably favourite in their league, went out of our league. Tough decision someone had to make to say go down. They've built their ground back up, got lights, meet all the grading criteria, won't progress again for another year. They've spent a lot of money on that. They're now.
I spoke to them during the summer. That was a hard interview to do because they were incredibly frustrated.
Yeah, and it's crap for them. It's crap for us who progressed, and we've wanted to build a journey. When we took the job, we look at 4 or 5 years where we wanted to be, and we're on course for that. And another year, if it gets voided and we stay in this league another year, it's another year not progressing, another year off the pitch that things have to stand still because fundraising, etc., stops. And it's hard for clubs who want to progress. And I'm sure every club says they want to progress, but sometimes their actions don't back it up. We are a club that wants to progress, and I think we back that up on and off the pitch. And clubs like Harleston, Stowmarket last year have done that and are doing that, and it's crap for them. And going back to your point, if you're not good enough, if you don't pick up enough points over 28, 38 games, and you are relegated, that's what you deserve. It's the same on a Saturday. If you play and you lose, more often than not, it's because you weren't good enough to beat the opposition. Occasionally, there's a bit of luck here and there, but more often than not, someone was better than you. And that's how it's simplistic, I know, but that's how I would like it to be if I was going to deal with this.
I'm sure for sport, that's what we all sign up for. We sign up for one team to be better than the other. Even as fans, you sign up for your team to get beaten and to ride the ups and downs, not just choose when you want them.
Yeah. James, what would you do? Throwing it back at you, where's your mind's at? Where's your head at?
Go on, Adam. You go first.
Yeah, I think like this season's like completely done with, really. Like with everything that's gone on, I just can't see how it can work. And I think a composite of last season and this season is that blend. But I think legally they'd have too much challenge if they did it because they'll say, well, we already brought a conclusion on it. And to that end,
remember.
Sorry.
The FA do what they want, remember.
Well, yeah, there is that element to it. I mean, if they were prepared to like actually use those results for something meaningful and make people's work count for something, that for me is the ideal situation because it gives a good span of time where people are able to perform, no matter what the squads were. If they said that they weren't prepared to do anything with last season at all, I'm absolutely 100% behind the notion that you have to make people's effort count for something, and I'd therefore carry those fixtures to the next available time when it was safe to continue playing, and not start at a point where we weren't sure if we're going to be able to keep going for a reasonable amount of time. Because this stop-start thing is really why I wanted to lead with those questions earlier about how is that affecting morale, momentum, winning attitude and stuff. If all those things you work hard to build just go out the window every 4 weeks, seriously, it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
James?
You want my opinion?
Yes.
Well, you are here. You might as well hear it.
Yeah. So I think this point that's on the screen at the moment, whatever way it's done, there's always going to be different opinions. It's a hard one to call. I think the problem that you've got is that different leagues will want to handle things in different ways. And ultimately, what it will come down to is that no one's going to make a decision because they're all too scared to upset a team in a certain in their league. So everyone, I think, what is actually going to happen is that it is going to be another null and void season because, as we've talked about, it's an easy way out. It's a cop out for a lot of leagues. It's a cop out for a lot of organizations. Don't have to take any responsibility. They can just kind of wipe their hands of it. Right, okay, well, let's go again. Hopefully the vaccine will be here. Hopefully we'll be back to normal. Let's start again in August and September, and let's just see how things go again. You know, for me, you then had 3 seasons of the same teams playing each other again and again and again and again. It gets boring. It gets repetitive. You know, I'll turn up to any game because I love football and I'll watch whatever football's in front of me. So I'll go to whatever. For me, I don't want to see the option of combining the 2 seasons together. What I think is the best and fairest option from this season is to say we only play 1 round of fixtures against each other. Let's try and fit it in between the March and May sort of time, maybe extend it into June. And if if you then won, if you've played somebody twice, you average the points out as to what it will be. If we have 0.5s or whatever the case in there, then so be it. Just for 1 season, let's just get it done. So have 1 round of fixtures, and then we'll see who's there at the end of that. Because then that gives you that. You can't then say, well, fairness side, we haven't played X in the league, we would have won that game. There's none of that. There's no arguments on that side. You've then got a competitive season at least sort of done. And yeah, I think that's just my personal opinion. I think that's a way of being able to finish the season without it meaning nothing again. And that's my big concern, is I think it is going to go towards that way. I think it's just going to be scrap it, whatever happens, because they want to fall in line with what goes on at the higher levels, don't they?
Yeah.
The season begins in August and it ends in May. And that's how it always has been. That's how it always will be. We have to follow what the other leagues do. Otherwise, if we don't follow them, we all fall out of whack. And as I said, I think just a way of being able to get a competitive season done, just playing everyone once, is a way of doing it. Now, a lot of people won't agree with that.
I struggle with, though, is that we have to work in this thing of a season is August to May. Fixtures start at the start of August and they end at the end of May. Like, can't we just accept that maybe for a couple of years that's going to be a bit wonky?
Yeah, but at the top level, it doesn't happen. Sorry, Danny.
New normal, because that's what's going about. Is everything's different. They've got to come up with something creative, because otherwise, like you say, it's going to be null and void. People are going to the teams will drop off, teams will disappear, and you lose that spark of that change of competition every year. Someone new, someone different grounds, etc. And that's a big part of it in non-league. Going to different places, having different challenges.
Yeah. I just want to see somebody within power make an actual decision. And somebody say, right, we're not in an ideal situation. This is rubbish for everyone. However, let's move forward rather than standing still. And this is how we're going to do it. Get a unanimous agreement throughout the leagues. It won't happen, so I don't even know why I'm saying it. Get a unanimous agreement. And right, this is how we're going to move forward. Let's just try and get something done. Because as I said, the longer it goes on for, they'll get to March and they'll go, oh, do you know what? We can't do this. Let's just bin it off. And that's going to be the sad thing. I don't want it to happen, but I can't see I can't see how it can be done. I mean, what do you? I mean, I'll start with yourself, Ben. What do you kind of think to both our ideas? I'm prepared to be.
I mean, it's James going first. I mean, that is the solution. Again, the worry is, do we, do we get another? So let's say we start in March again. Do we get another month down the line and we're back into lockdown? And does that happen again? And
potentially, yeah.
So for clubs, I think we have to be careful about clubs' survival. And don't forget, we're talking about step 5 and step 6, step 7. Not too much money involved in terms of paying out. But when you get to 3 and 4, there's lots of money at stake, and I think we risk clubs at that stage their survival, because I know we don't seem to have seen any money coming down from what was promised. We haven't seen anything.
Right, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a dangerous solution. If it's a brave solution, if we can play games and potentially play, the half a season that you suggest. So yeah, I mean, it's again,
I'm very optimistic on that side of things. I know I am, but
and that's what we hope. We want to play. We want to play football. We want to carry on playing. And like I said, there has to be, if we do that way, the league have to say, okay, we're gonna crack on when it's safe. We want to play games, and we want to play games, but these are the rules. These are the rules of calling games off. If you've got a couple of players down with COVID, but they're self-isolating, then if it's safe for you to play, you need to play. You need to play. And if you can't play because of COVID, you lose 3 points. And that's what England combination done at step 7. I don't think they saw many games called off because of COVID, because they were like, well, actually, funny enough, we've got a reserve team and we've got players that can play, and suddenly the players that might have called off but can suddenly play again. So I think there needs to be rules put in place about postponing games if we crack on, because we'll never get it finished if not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny, what about you?
I think obviously Adam's idea suits me better because that suits us straight away. But like Ben said, we want to play at the same time. And it's that, realistically, are we going to play again anytime soon? Probably not. So Adam's idea favours us, and that's our agenda like we talked about earlier. But I'd rather play and rather do it. And if we do it and we get promoted, you do it the proper way, the right way. Because it's like when you see online people go, Liverpool won the title and it's an asterisk next to it because of the COVID season, all that sort of stuff. And it would be like that. It wouldn't be like if you won the league this year and it was done on however it was done, and it wouldn't be the same as if you'd done 38 games and you were the best side and that sort of stuff. I think the biggest problem we're going to have is, even if we do play our season, I don't see the whole country playing it out, because some leagues, is if you listen to other shows and listen to people, some teams only play 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
they're just never going to get them in, and they're higher up, which means they put a block in on teams moving up and down, and that's going to be the big issue, because you might get a season done in an area unless they can find a regionalised way of doing promotions and accepting that a league might be smaller or bigger for a season. But again, I don't see that happening, because they like this is what's happening across the country, done, we move on.
Exactly what I said.
It's not going to matter, because a step 3 side who's had games called off because of COVID, because of the weather, because of what tier they're in, and they played single figures amount of games, are not going to get it in between March and May. It's just not going to happen, because then if you chuck the crappy weather that comes in, that then blocks off the teams in the league below that. They can't go up, and it just has that domino effect. And sooner or later, we then get to, Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, London area. Oh, they've got through their leagues, but Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, some of them have some, and it just gets messy again. And I think that'll probably be the biggest problem with it overall, because there won't be a consistent approach. Yeah. It won't be every league gets to 75% of the games, or every league completes it. It'll be some leagues do, some leagues don't, some teams haven't, and you can't do points per game because they haven't played. and it just gets messy. And I think that'll be the biggest problem. Whatever idea comes up with, there'll be some little spanner that upsets something somewhere, and it knocks that promotion relegation.
I genuinely think that's the biggest spanner there is, though, because the whole restructure relies on every league getting over the line. I think when we look at football, we look at it quite blinkered as to the leagues that are in front of us. You know, the teams that are local to us. Yeah. We don't think that for this whole pyramid mechanism to work, that you go as far north and as far south, far east, as far west as you need to go. Everyone within that needs to complete their league structure for that to work. Again, would the FA have the time, patience, and everything else to find a fair system to sort that out? Yeah. I'd then again lean towards I'd just expect it to get void for those reasons.
Yeah.
Another solution might be is what we said earlier. You could actually say, lads, it's far too dangerous. We're gonna postpone the season until August. You'll restart in August. We're not restructuring until the year after. We made a boo-boo with that, announcing it in July. Cancel it for another year. You play your remaining of the season from August through to February, March, and then it gives you from March to the start of the next season to host fundraising events, mini tournaments, a way just to generate cash flow, because we've had a couple of years without any events. Like I say, we have a summer festival on my barn on Mulberry Park. That's almost, that's the way we pay for a lot of things at the club, grounds and whatever. We haven't had that for 2 years, so that's a crucial thing. So do you go actually get this season completed by February next year and have 4 months of just fundraising, mini competitions,
It's an idea.
Just to try and bring some delight to the youth teams within your club, because they've been hit hard as well. Something like that. It feels like if we're not going to end it now, there's not going to be a restructure. Let's do what we know best and do the August start. Yeah.
Let's move on from the hows and the potential changes, because I think it's difficult, because I can't see leagues making a decision for at least another month. I think everyone's going to go a bit quiet now, considering everything that's going on. So there's plenty.
Did you actually see? Whilst you're talking, I was just doing a quick fact check. Step 5 and 6 actually met on Saturday.
Yeah. And that's right. A knee jerk, and they make a decision.
Yeah. So,
what did they discuss? Do we know?
Well, that hasn't been released, but it says that the Alliance Committee are then going to be meeting again this week ahead of an FA Council meeting. So it sounds like they're going through the notions of working out what is probably not possible. Like, it's best phrasing it in that way. They're going to be working out what isn't any longer possible, rather than thinking about what is, to try and trim some bits out. And I think today, with the clear intention of saying nothing's now going to happen until mid-February at least, will give them even further indication.
Yeah.
Because I think step 3 and 4 said they would give clubs 3 weeks notice, allow them to play friendlies and things like that. So again, you right. Use another month,
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
And also still winning as well, so another little fact check for you. I was a Liverpool fan, you see, so I thought I'd bring that.
Are we winning? Are we?
No, you're losing, mate.
What? Crop out.
I did see someone put on Twitter earlier saying it's time for Trent to get dropped, so goodness knows what he's done.
But Henderson's playing centre half as well.
Hey, all the best midfield, centre back.
So, whilst all of this is going on at the moment, and there's so much uncertainty, for you two as joint managers, let's kind of have a conversation about how this has been affecting the club and how it's been affecting the squad. Sometimes the burden of responsibility when these kind of things happen does fall on the shoulders of the manager to keep everyone's morale up and to keep the squad and the unity intact. How difficult has it been for you guys throughout this whole season, throughout the past last season, where there has been so much uncertainty and there has been constant stop-start, not only motivating yourself, but motivating the players as well? How difficult has that been?
I'll go with this. I think you have to look at it at a human level, and I think footballers, non-league footballers are no different to just most human beings. They need structure, and you need some focus and some sort of structure without it being too much for the situation you're in. So pre-season is pre-season. Some people are really keen pre-season. Some people see it as that's where I'm going to get fit. Some people turn up ready to go. And however long, whatever lockdown has been, we've always tried to just drip feed some structure in, whether it's a quiz, whether it's a challenge, whether it's a social something or other online somehow. That just keeps that structure, it keeps it in the mind. It's not like it would be where you're training on a Tuesday and you're playing on a Saturday and you're meeting up and you're talking and there's loads of banter on the group. It'll go up and down, obviously. But I think on a human level, people need that little bit of structure day to day, okay, or week to week, that there'll be something football based, or I've got something to look forward to, or something to talk to someone about, or whatever it might be. That's, I think, where we did it, in my opinion. And we're lucky. We've got some good lads and some good characters who don't mind doing something stupid or taking control of something or running something or keeping challenges going and stuff like that. And in a way, we just sort of steer it and let them run with it. And we're lucky with the group we've got for that. And that helps. But it's more than just turning up and playing on a Saturday. It's more this is what I need from my football, not just turning up and winning or turning up and competing. I need to see people, be sociable, have that bit of banter, have that chat, the numerous videos and pictures that go in a WhatsApp group, whatever it is. We won't go too much into some of them from Tom Hislop, but all them sort of things, they're big. And if you don't have that group and that bit going regularly, so if someone's dropping in a run they've done or a picture or somewhere they are or what they're doing or something stupid like that, it goes and it drifts and then all of a sudden it's gone too far and you can't get it back. You're right there, Ben. You let it out.
Just get stiff. I think I run earlier, actually. I get leg on the field. Yeah. Nothing else.
But yeah, I personally just think you just need that little constant. It's just there tapping away. We're still here. Whatever you need from us, whether it's competition, a laugh, whatever, and then to come back, it makes it easier. It's not that I'm going back to football, and people will suffer from different things, and it might become daunting instead of something they look forward to.
Yeah, I'd say so. Off the back of that, I completely agree with Selfie. So we've now been at the club 5 seasons. So there's been 5 pre-seasons that we've 4.5 pre-seasons that we've had. So we sort of learn year after year how we deal with the lads, and obviously we sort of fine-tune our squad as we go on each year. And I think the lads are credit to themselves, their mindset, and they're all come from. Most of them have played high level, so they have that. They know the level they need to. Chairman, they know the levels that we operate at, and Selfie and I have always tried to take the best bits from the bits we've learned from managers we've played under, and try to sort of take it, sort of communicate it to our squads, whether that's talking to them individually as a group. Like I said earlier, we've been having weekly challenges. There's a few quid at stake for the winners. Like Selfie said, a lot of banter going on because they're just 20, 25 lads, who will, just like Selfie. Football is where they get fulfillment from, and that's when they get out of the house. A couple of lads who were little babies, before lockdown, they were like, amazing to be at football. Just to get out of the house and just to clear their mind, and that's where they get their joy. That's where they get that buzz. That's where they get their kicks from. Yeah. Whether that's a clean sheet or hitting the back of the net, you just know there's no buzz like it than winning a football match. And without that, it's really tough. But that relentlessness, keeping on top of them to try and help them ticking over is what we try and pride ourselves on. And I think we've got a good mix, but it's completely down to the group of lads you got, and they've really brought into what we've tried to do.
Yeah.
So I think football.
Go on, Adam.
Yeah, I was to say, like, football at any level is full of highs and lows. I think one of the things I try and speak to people about whenever I speak about non-league football is that non-league still shares that same emotion as what you may get from a top flight game. Like this year, obviously, massive highs for yourself from the Vars run that you've had in particular, like absolutely incredible. Not only the teams you've beaten, but the scoreline by which you've done that by as well. You talk about like the massive buzz you get from hitting the back of the net and stuff like that. Like you really have had quite a go at that. But then we've obviously then also had the low saying that competition is now suspended, and we're not sure what's going on with that going forward, with last season still not being finished. Did little niggly things like that, have they had to be something that you've had to address in the team just to keep everyone smiling through it? Because hard work goes into that run. You're considerably deep into the competition. Yeah,
and again, that's an escape from the league, isn't it? We may not be able to finish the league, but at least we've got the cup to concentrate on as well. That that kind of goes hand in hand.
It's funny. So every year Self and I go with the cups don't really matter, because we're gonna we turn up every year. We go, well, we're not going to win the Vars. Senior Cup's difficult because you got the likes of DeeJam in it. And the league is what you get. You get judged on. But every time we go, we're at home, we're getting the Vars. That's a winnable game. That is. You win that one, you go, well, we've got another very winnable game here. And then chairman's going, there's a few quid coming in now. You need to win the next one. You've generated half. We're very, I say, lucky we've earned the right, but we've sort of generated half our annual budget through what we've made from the Vars. So that's that from that perspective has been excellent. But it's sort of like us against the world mentality. We get the null void last year and go, lads, we've been screwed here. Let's go again. And I think the lads are really brought into that.
Yeah, definitely. And how important then has it been joint management is something that's becoming more and more popular in the game, rather than having a traditional number one and number two sort of thing. So how important has it been having somebody else that you can lean on for not only for help but for guidance as well, and also just to kind of keep up that spirit and morale? I'll ask you that first, Danny.
Well, Ben and I go back, I don't know, 12 to about 12 years old. Lads' holidays, trips to Benner's, as Blake would like us to talk about, all sorts of stuff like that, playing in games, cup competitions, winning leagues, all that sort of stuff. So we know each other. We lived together for a while, so there's a few more stories there. Probably not for this either, but all that sort of stuff helps us understand each other. And I've got my strengths, and he's got his, and we work on each other's strengths. I'm not going to step on his toes on things that he's better than me, and that. Okay, and vice versa. I do coaching. That's a lot of my background. Ben's lots of organisation, communication, and that side of things. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's the right phrase, isn't it? And that's just the tip of the iceberg for both of us. But it works because we know each other. And you don't get many pairs of managers go in and share a job who don't know each other. It's very rare that happens, because there's just not that agreement of who does what, and it just can get messy. But it works for us because there's not many parts of our lives that haven't crossed over somewhere, and football's always been central to that. So it allows us to bounce off each other, and then your lives start coming around that. Families start to know each other. Mums and dads meet at football when we were kids, and wives, and all that sort of stuff. So it becomes an extension of your family, your social circle, and you just work with each other. So there's a bromance here. Do you know what I mean? It's been going on for a while, and Anna, Ben's wife, often says I'm the other one in their marriage. So
I get that all the time. Adam's referred to as my other wife.
I do as the wife.
I get it. Talk to yourself is that, you guessed it. For me, I think it's all of what Selby said, but it's just trusting each other. I trust Selby with all the decisions he makes, and vice versa. And if you do have a disagreement, you find a happy medium. But over 5 seasons, I don't think I don't think there's been any, disagreement, or we'd always agree on potential players we're trying to sign. We always agree on players that we probably might want to move on. And if we don't talk about football, we have a hell of a lot of other things to talk about. Not necessarily don't talk about football. So we have. Yeah. So we shared lots of experiences together, but I would say it's trust, 100%.
Having known each other for that long and going that far back, what would you say that the biggest challenge to coaching has been brought about by COVID for you? So in all the things that have had to change and everything that's happened, what's the biggest challenge you've found really in the last 12 months?
I'll go. Should I go on this one? Yeah. I'll go back to and talk about. Do you know what? It was actually in the summer when we were trying to sign players. It was really, really difficult. And when a number of managers have said this locally, there's a lot of players that have gone from, I don't know, step 3 and step 4 all the way down to step 7 clubs. And we were talking to players that we go, we probably won't go for him because we probably won't get him because he's a good player. Let's talk to him. He's like, oh, sorry, I'm going to sign for a step 7 club. It's like, that's crazy. And it felt like people were just falling into rightly or wrongly so, but they're falling into the comfort zone, and they were going, I'm going to go play with step 7 because I can just turn up on Saturday and play because it's COVID and things are happening in my life that I have no control over. So I want to go down to step 7, earn a few quid. So that was the hardest thing. That really was.
Yeah, people's priorities changed, and some of it's health related, some of it's experiences they've had in this crappy time, and it changed things. And people, you can't fall out with people over. It's their choice. It always is their choice if they want to sign for you or not. And you never burn the bridges because we know how quickly it can change, and someone falls out, someone leaves, and it all changes again. So there's no value in that for us burning bridges. But there was a surprise. That was a big surprise for us that so many people. I think the whole situation affected them, and they just reassessed whether they even realised and went, I don't know if I want to commit to that, and I don't know if I want to put that on there when I've had 6 months of this, or I need to focus on my work, or all that sort of stuff. And I think that ultimately it showed where people went, I'm just going to ease back a little bit from it for however long they're going to do that for.
Do you think that we are looking at a long-term shift with that sort of stuff? Because it's something that we have spoken about on here, not for some time, if I'm honest, how we did notice players going to play more of their pals or more locally. And we have sort of alluded to the fact that is this something that's now just going to become a longer-term thing, and people don't hold playing at the highest level possible in as much regard as they do maybe the family time and that personal side of it.
I think people's lives have changed in general. People don't work Monday to Friday now and have weekends. Their work patterns change, and obviously it's changed even more since COVID's come in. So people are working from home. But I think it'll go in cycles. I think we look at it locally because if a team's got momentum and they're climbing the leagues and what have you, and they're winning things, they're the club that people want to play for. Someone aspires to be in them, and they've got a rivalry. There's 2 clubs to go for. When teams are the higher teams in your area sort of stand still a little bit, or plateau, or stay in the league, but they don't go up and they don't go down, they just perform as probably is expected for them. Does that spark go, that imagination go out of, I can do that, and they're going on this journey, I want to be part of that. And it goes in that cycle, and then someone else comes up and it goes round that sort of way. Probably a little bit what happened with Stonemarket the last few years. They've been someone that people have been able to go to, whether they've pulled them down and they've taken them up. With Rick leaving now, does that stand still? I don't know. Does that keep going? Is the league going to have an issue on that? It just is the whole situation. But I personally think it goes in cycles, and we might be in that cycle now for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, where people just go, I want this because this is comfortable for me, whilst everything else is just a bit random.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Do you agree with that, Ben?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was just sort of comment pop up. It depends where people are in their careers, and family life. You might get to 35, 36, and you go, actually, do I want to be getting up do I want to be meeting a bus at 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning and driving, getting on a coach? I don't really know much of the lads because I've got my family stuff going on. I'm getting on the coach and I'm getting home at 8:30 in the evening, not necessarily knowing if I'm going to play or not, because I'm getting to the back end of my career. I could actually step down 3 levels, leave the house at midday on a Saturday, be home at 5 p.m. and get paid 3 times as much. So you can't blame players for doing it, and it all depends on where they are with their personal life.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
they're certainly. There's money on players, and of course everybody has a price, and that does have an impact, I think. But let's see this. If we get restarted again, wages have to start to be paid out again, and that's another thing we need to consider, because there's money going to be going out. People without the vaccine, are they going to leave the house with this new strain? Are they going to turn up to football matches? Our attendance is going to be down. Could you put clubs out of business before they even get the chance to restart the season in August? I think we certainly have to look at where the finances are coming from and what support there is actually for, certainly at our level and down, because I don't think there is enough consideration that's been put on the table for that.
Yeah, because we've spoken. We've had Suffolk FA come on here and talk about things from their perspective. From obviously with you guys in Norfolk, do you know of what support is available if you did reach out at all? Have Norfolk FA contacted any clubs like yourself and sort of said, we're here for you if XYZ needs to happen, or has that kind of conversation not taken place and you have to reach out to them, so to speak?
I think they've been excellent. I think Norfolk FA have been excellent. With obviously Gavin Lemon at the helm. We play with him a number of clubs, Norwich United, Wroxham, great lad, and running the Norfolk FA very well. I think they've offered so much support for clubs. I think it's probably the money coming down from the top that's probably not, been talked about. I think Norfolk FA are excellent, and I just speak to the secretary and the chairman and the vice chairman. They are, they've really helped out with I think it was a groundsman's grant at the beginning of the summer, which enabled us to prepare the pitch and things like that. I think that they're Norfolk FA are brilliant. I think it's probably the money that maybe was going to be. I think this winter grant was going to come down, and then suddenly most of it become a loan instead of a grant, and there's lots of grey areas there. So I think it's behind out.
Yeah,
I think
fair enough.
with the state that the football world is in at the moment, and the lack of clarity as to how we go forward, I think many clubs are going to feel quite terrified at the option of taking loans. And I obviously haven't gone through terms and conditions to work out how they would have to be repaid and at what point. But it may ease a burden now, but it's going to add a long-term stress to financially perform and get that back. And clubs will also have to think about how paying those loans back will affect their future ability to achieve their goals, because it's money that they're going to be missing. You don't want debts being a burden on you for a long time when, let's face it, a lot of these clubs are not operating at big profits.
Yeah,
they're run by volunteers for a reason.
It's fine margins, and like I say, to be offered a loan for a football club that it's just maybe step 3, 4 maybe, but you just sort of quite it's laughable, isn't it, really?
Definitely. Well, boys, really appreciate you coming on tonight and talking all things non-league. And obviously, I know you're north of the border, which for me is not an issue. But appreciate you coming on and talking about our world and what's going on. And hopefully, if we can get some football back up and running, I wish you all the best. Because as I said, when myself and Adam came over, we were thoroughly impressed that you boys you thoroughly deserve that win. It was probably one of the best match day experiences we've done in a long time. So we really appreciate what you're doing. So keep up all the good work, and hopefully morale can stay at a good level, and maybe we can complete the season.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Thanks for coming on, boys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Take care of yourselves.
Cheers. Bye. It's a good chat. Really good. I enjoyed that.
Really was. Yeah.
It's interesting to get some other perspectives as well, and to broaden the conversation about what options can and can't be done. I like that. Like that very much.
And I really appreciated them both coming on as well to both share their experiences.
Definitely.
And it's nice to have that like broad footballing opinion as well as a bit more knowledge behind what's been going on this season for them as well.
Definitely.
On quite an open basis as well.
Yeah, definitely. Let's finish tonight's show off with the Super Six as we do now. Adam, talk me through this week's Super Six. What happened? And then I'll bring the graphic up on the screen to show the latest league table.
Movers and shakers at the top of the table this week.
You were tweeting about a lot of points being won for certain people.
Last time we did pro football, we were useless at it. It appears that we've been getting our practice in. So many people should have done ACCAs on their actual results that they picked out.
Really?
Because they got all four, no problems.
Interesting.
You actually did well, James.
There we go. I had a good week. Nice
you got 7, which is your biggest total ever, I think.
Wow, that's actually really good for me.
And I think the top score this week was 8 points, which was decent because so many people got it. Quick look at the spreadsheet, and I'm showing 4 or 5 people on 8 points, but Alex Eggleton's moved himself into second place.
Well, let's get the league table up. So here is the latest table then. So there is confirmation of Alex in second. Well played, mate. Where am I? 21st. I've climbed. I'm happy with that. I'm near. Joint with quite a few people as well. Nice one.
You're not leading our 2-man show leaderboard though, are you, James?
No, but I'm not far behind. So
do you know what's a joke though? Like I'm 6th on 53 points, and you're 21st on 46. That's the best illustration of what's happened this week. Is that the top hasn't scored that well, but then everything else has concertinaed. Underneath it. So a couple of unusual things happened. A couple of people didn't get a chance to put their results in this week, but I'm not really surprised with it being New Year and stuff. I mean, I do appreciate that people have got other better things to do other than fill in my Google forms. Just as Alex absolutely smashes it out of the park with 8, Spreads matches him and also gets an 8. So the gap is still there at the top. Spreads still keeps doing it week in, week out, doesn't it? But some really consistent scorers now as well, like people getting fairly decent scores week in, week out. Simon Ager's won sort of 3-3, 4-6, like scoring fairly decent amounts every week. And just where was it? One of the ones that I wanted to, Jordan, who we've spoken about the last couple of weeks, kept the pressure up with another 5 this week. Nice. So all going well. We're at that point where if you miss a couple of weeks, you do slide down the table now, though, because it, like I say, it has really concertinaed up. But it's looking good. Thanks to Atlas K9 for carrying on supporting the Super Six. And it will be January will just carry on going towards the end of season prize that we'll put in for. So obviously if I do monthly prizes every month, we're not going to have money in the pot to be able to do an end of season prize. So we'll be working with Atlas K9 this month to go towards the end of season prize. So keep at it and just keep getting them scores in. Like people have done really, really well.
So here are the Super Six for this week. Then here are the fixtures that we're going with, and the link for the Super Six for this week is going into the chat now. So Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter is there for you. So we've got Norwich versus Coventry in the FA Cup. It's Ipswich versus Swindon if the game goes ahead in League One. And we've got 3 fixtures in League Two: Cambridge versus Harrogate, Salford versus Colchester, and Southend versus Barrow. And then we've got Kings Lynn versus Halifax. And this is where I'm probably going to be told that one of these games has already been called off, although it's not confirmed on the website I use. So at the moment, these games are going ahead, and fingers crossed they do. Interesting that Ipswich don't have an FA Cup game. But there we go. Get your Super Six predictions in. I'm going to say one right off the bat. Let's pick... I'm going to go with Kings Lynn to win 3-0 against Halifax. There you go. There's my prediction. I'm going to put that on my form after the show.
That feels brave.
Yeah, why not? Got to be brave in this, haven't you? I think that's the thing with this, is that if you go for your run-of-the-mill standard results, either everyone's going to predict it, or they don't normally tend to come in. You got to go for some wild entries now. You got to really go for it, because that's where I start getting some of my big points.
Just some people. Actually, massive shout out to George Ablett, who guessed the 4-2 Chelmsford Braintree right. Only person that got it.
Really?
So, but it's things like that which are the little wins, because some people literally have been known to fill in the form 2-1 every single result every week.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think I'm going to need to start sending Irv his own blooming personal one.
Well, I'll prompt myself to remind you of. That's what I'm going to promise. That's what I'll promise. So yeah, there are the predictions on there. As I said, if you want to get involved in the Super Six to go towards the end of the season competition, then please fill in the form and compete against your fellow county men and women. Adam, we'll round up today's show with that. Really appreciate everybody getting involved in the comments as per normal. It's a rubbish time for everyone at the moment, and it's just been compounded with more lockdown restrictions and more rules in place. The thing that I say every week is still there. If you want to talk, if you want to speak, my DMs are open, Adams are open. We're happy to have a chat with you at any point. You're not alone in this. Set yourself small goals and get yourself through the day. We will get there eventually. It's just taken a lot longer than what we first anticipated for whatever reason that may be. We're not here to speculate on that. But we will be here every Monday, and we'll be announcing some guests that are coming onto the show to talk about their stories in due course. And one thing I am very excited to be able to talk to you guys about, actually, before we disappear, is that we will be bringing out a new video every single week. It's going to be a behind the scenes look of what kind of goes into the making of the show, what kind of things that we talk about. During the course of the week, we're going to be reacting to this week's podcast after the show, so you'll be able to get clips on that, and different recordings and snippets from myself and Adam throughout the week, and just a little bit of lighthearted just to kind of show what goes on as I said behind the scenes, where we're making improvements, what we're doing with the show, just so that you know what is actually happening as well. So that will be something that's going to be coming out on a weekly basis, and we're really looking forward to bringing that to you guys. Unsure on the date yet, but we'll see on that one. But yeah, really appreciate it, Alex. Good show tonight. Keep positive, everyone. Please, everyone, stay safe. I thought I was, and I still got the virus. So stay safe. That's a really important message to end on. Stay safe. Look after each other. Again, DMs are open. Thank you very much for watching, and until next Monday, thank you very much. Adios.